Hello, Empower Network TV. I'm coming to you live with Jini Wimmer. I'm outside and she's in her car. So we thought, let's do a different type of interview today. Welcome here, Jini.
Thank you. Thank you, Amos. It's great to be here.
Well, I'm excited to interview you today.
Thank you.
Now, do you have a beverage too? Do you have any beverage going on, or do you got? Oh,
Yep, I got
perfect.
my chai tea.
All right, we are in cahoots, Jini. Well, for those that don't know you and haven't introduced you, do you want to give us just a brief overview of who you are, and then let's jump into your story too. But can you just open it up again with what we talked about before we went live? Just kind of what your main focus is.
You bet. So, as far as my business persona, I go by Reverend Coach Jini, and I help empower women who want to improve their lives. I'm really passionate about women who want to be entrepreneurs and to help them create the story that they want to, and to help them remove whatever might be in the way of being successful.
I got to ask, why Reverend? I like that name. So I grew up Christian in the church. I haven't heard Reverend in a very long time. And I'm really curious, why Reverend? Why not Bishop? Why not Pastor? Why not you name it?
Just because it's I take a universal point of view, and I take in all religions. I'm not Christian, I'm not Jewish, I'm not, because I've had experiences of being pure consciousness, but I want to bring that in is the whole person, not just your personality, not just who you're being in the world, but there's a God self within you that I want to help you connect with, to bring that through your personality to be of service in the world.
Wow, what a beautiful statement you just made. Okay, and why entrepreneurials? Why do you want to help entrepreneurial women?
They say teach what you want to know. I've been an entrepreneur on and off several times, and I'm just very passionate about women bringing their gifts to the world. And we, not that, yeah, I just feel like we need more women who step into their power and own who and what they are, because I know I stayed hidden for many, many, many years. And a lot of it was just insecurity, and, didn't think I had anything to say or who would listen to me. And I want to help empower women find their voice and speak their truth.
That's beautiful. I think a lot of people resonate with you on that, Jini. So why were you hiding? And how did you stop hiding? How did you stop hiding? What broke you free of that? Because that's the right there. That's the real part of the story we want to hear.
Well, it just happened recently. I mean, I've been hiding since high school. I was an acting senator for a high school for the state of Florida. Have no flipping idea how that came about. And I was a representative, in the future business of America. Multiple jobs that I've had, they've always tried to push me into management, and I either quit or turned it down or sabotaged it. I just shied away from ever wanting to be in the limelight. I'm an introvert by nature. I love working with people and talking with people one-on-one. And 3 years ago, when I lost my husband, and it was a 2-year process, I was right there with him, then it hit me like a ton of bricks. Do I want to get to the end of my life on my deathbed and not have done my calling? And so I spent last year getting over myself and working through every anxiety, fear, story about coming out and what that meant. And now
Oh,
it's
sorry.
like,
Sorry, I keep interrupting. Keep going. I'm just saying I love it. Keep going, please.
yeah. So, we all have it. I really am excited about finding a way to, I mean, I've had the experience, like I said, of being pure consciousness. And so I'm really connected with that God self in me. But like everybody, we have a personality and an ego. And with all the new science on neuroscience and the ego and the personality, and and finding a way of how to view your ego or your personality, that it's not who you are and that you're really in charge of it. But until you get in touch, that ego has a fear of death. If you get in touch with that God self within you, it thinks it's going to die. So it'll do everything in its power to keep you in fear, to keep you feeling inadequate, whatever it takes. But once you get past it and you realize it's not going to die and that it becomes a service to you, then it's almost like everything, it just doesn't matter anymore. I still feel the feelings, but it doesn't get in my way. I'm able to just do whatever I've signed up to do.
Jini, you're giving us a master class right now, both in humility, authenticity, and inspirational how to take action. So okay, 2023, you're like, I'm done with this. If I don't get my stuff together, this ain't going to end good for me, because you wanted to be proud of what you've come here to do. So 2024, what are you here to do? And what are you doing to make, not that it's all about effort, but what is your intention? What are you choosing to say yes to, Jini?
Well, I just got finished beta testing my first online course. It's a 6-week course, has 16 lessons. So we meet once a week for 6 weeks, and it goes through meditations and exercises. It kind of has 3 parts to it. One is finding out what your real values and principles are, not what society says, not what you've been taught, but a meditation that'll take you deep within. It was first introduced to me by Stephen Covey, like in the 80s. Then we find out why you're doing what you're doing, and not just to make money or, for ego or pride or whatever. We go like 7 layers deep to find out deep in your heart. And for me, it was to be a servant for God. I was blown away by that. And that intimidated me, to say the least. And then self-love. If you don't have self-love or feel worthy, you're going to sabotage yourself. So we work on self-love. And then the last part is freeing up stuck energy, releasing old energies from things you've been carrying around, and learning how we've been taught to compromise ourselves. That is probably one of my most favorite ones. It was the most eye-opening, because we were taught how to be compromised when we were real little. For a simple example, there was a relative, he wasn't really a blood relative, named Uncle Bud. And when I was 5 years old, I was told to get on his lap, give him a kiss, and he'd give me a quarter. Well, everything in my little body said, no, this guy gives me the creeps. I don't want to do it. But I'm in a room full of adults, and I didn't feel like I had a choice, and children will do whatever they need to do to survive. It's not a conscious thing. And I did it. And I noticed that in certain situations, even once in a blue moon now, I won't speak up when I need to speak up, and going, no, this doesn't feel good. This isn't right. And we've all, on different levels, have been indoctrined with this.
Wow. I find you so inspirational. You're ready to, you're ready to, I don't know the rest of your story, but you're checking some pretty important boxes, Jini, on what I've noticed allows a person to take off and what holds them back. And thank you for being here. So what else can you share with us? What are some other key moments? Do you have another key moment that changed the trajectory of where you're going? You mentioned your husband passing. You mentioned sitting yourself down, looking yourself in the mirror last year. Is there anything else that came to you that really shook you up? Have you had any encounters with God, with the divine, that have rocked you?
Yes. It's real interesting you bring that up. I was thinking about it this morning. I was taught how to do a waking meditation. And from a quantum physics point of view, I take in science as well as spiritual, that everything is just energy. And I was taught this exercise to meditate with a live object, which for me, it was a tree. And I was just standing there, and you just, meditate and just be with it to feel the connection where you realize that you and this tree or whatever your object you're focused on is one, and that we're one and the same. And in an instantaneous moment, I experienced what I label as God's love. And it was so profound because what I realized in that moment was God never judged me to start with. There was never anything for me to be forgiven for, because we're not capable as a human being with all the filters and our personality and egos to experience this unconditional love that we came from and that we all go back to, regardless of what you've done here and now. And yes, there's consequences, there's karma, there's cause and effect by your choices that you make, but not from God. And you don't even, the forgiveness is really for ourselves, to free ourselves up. And then I had known about the Course in Miracles 30 years ago, and I was drawn to it recently, last year. And they're talking about the same thing, that God doesn't recognize from their point of view the ego. The ego isn't real. I'll bet it seems real, as Einstein would say. So I'm just, to be free of all that burden that I used to carry around was amazing. It really shifted everything.
I'm really excited to see where you're gonna go in 2024, because you've shed a lot of garbage. You've shed it.
Still shedding.
Yeah, me too. I get it. Me too. Do you have so you got a course you've launched. What are your thoughts for this year? Are you gonna do a book? You're gonna do retreats? What now, you're living way up in the mountains, right? Or way out in the boonies. So is there any travel plans? Is there any what's on your heart?
That is what I'm contemplating right now. I did write a book. I'm not ready to publish it. It's in its first draft form. It's called At One from Atonement, from Fragmented to Wholeness. And it's a book that explains about how we became fragmented in our life and how to return back to the wholeness that you always were and always have been. Because we love to create problems thinking they're outside of ourselves, but we created them to overcome them. And I watched that in my own life and, kind of laugh like, well, that was silly, why did I? But, life is happening for us, not to us. And if you can see it from that point of view, then you can glean the lesson from it. But it's about standing back far enough to kind of get the bird's eye view of what's going on.
Well, I'm just loving interviewing you, Jini. This is so good.
Thank
Do you have
you.
do you have
Thank you.
any last thoughts for the audience for ENTV before we wrap it today?
Just recognize that you are the love and the light that you seek. You already are everything that you need. And that we just stop telling, whatever story, make sure that the story you're telling yourself and others is an empowering one. And, quit, just let go of the stories that get in your way. Just see them for what they are, stories. And just write the new one about what you do want and beat that drum.
Beat it hard. Yep.
Yeah, daily.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jini Wimmer, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate your candor. You're authentic, you're inspirational, and I want to see you blow up this year, whatever that looks like.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it, Amos.
Who invited you here to Power Network TV?
It was Christine Baker, and it actually took her a couple times.
I like Christine. She's inspirational. She's very fun.
Yes, she is. So thank you, Christine.
Thank you, Christine. And thank you, Jini. Thanks for just pouring your heart out and being so real. That inspires me. Yeah, I love. What's your cat's name? I know there's a cat crate there. What's your cat's name?
Mia,
Mia. Okay, is Mia with you or Mia's at home?
Mia's at home.
She's at home. Okay. I always like to ask. I love animals, so I always want to ask.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
Jeannie. Oh, good.
nope, we're good.
Okay. Well, if you have watched Empower Network TV on the live replay, YouTube, podcast, whichever, please jump in and connect with Ginny. She'd love to connect with you. Ginny, I'll be tagging you in this interview. And any links you got for a course or anything, please put in the comments section of the Facebook after. And thanks for just helping my morning to be so awesome because you just showed up so wonderfully. Okay,
You bet.
we'll end it here.